Alpinists and trespassers. Take the scenic route through the foothills. Stop to smell the wild edelweiss. And remember that what happens in the government-protected wildland preservation stays in the government-protected wildland preservation.
Because it's time to talk Tull to me. That was my sexy voice, could you tell?
Do you, come around this geographical area often?
Visit these nondescript trees regularly?
It's a 4-day walk to, Welcome back, everyone. I am Omen Say.
And I am Nick McGill.
Together, we are Feckless Moans.
And, this is, it's Talk Tull to me.
A weekend ramble through the common lands of prog rock in which Nick and I will put on our hiking boots and exercise our right to roam across the recorded works of seminal band Jethro Tull. We will fill our bar backpacks with Palmer pastries, John Evan Johnny cakes, and Barrymore Barlow biscuits as we struggle up Mount Glasscock. Every summit an album, every footstep a song. We will not stop unless Old Man Anderson mistakes us for poachers and unloads his double-barreled flute at us.
A lot of carbs. A lot of carbs in that meal.
Well, doing a lot of
I
exercise.
guess, yeah. Not a balanced diet. I mean, I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Hi, Omen.
Hey, buddy.
Welcome back.
I forgot your name.
Ian. It's Ian.
Okay. Yes, welcome back to the podcast. We will be spending the next 45 minutes or so talking Tull, won't we?
With that, we will. A very specific Tull song. It is it the opener off of side B? Dare I say it?
I dare you to.
Dare me? A triple dog dare you. It is, in fact, the opener off of side B. We are going to be talking Velvet Green today. However, let's not get too hasty, because before we do that, we're going to do a little bit of this.
That's right. It's time to play What Are You Drinking?
Pass the cup of crimson wonder.
Nick,
Omen.
shall I tell you what I'm drinking?
Yes, yours is the more mild of the two beveri. So why don't you tell us what you have?
I am drinking a lovely cup of Yorkshire Gold tea with a little splash of cow's milk and no sugar. And by a little splash of cow's milk, I mean more cow's milk than probably most people take in their tea. I like it quite milky. But Yorkshire Gold is a delightful blend of teas, which was first introduced to me by my stage combat and breathing professor at Sarah Lawrence. And then I rediscovered it when I started dating my wife, whose family's English.
Did she know that she was your wife at the time?
No, I told her later.
Oh, okay. It's good to clear those up pretty early on.
Yeah, I kept it as a surprise for a while.
Yeah? That's pleasant. As long as she consented in the end, it's really okay.
We have two main types of tea in this house. We have Yorkshire Gold and Twinings. Twinings is for my wife. Yorkshire Gold is for me.
I'm a Yorkshire Gold man.
And I once calculated it. She drinks approximately... I want you to imagine a fish tank, Nick.
Yes, imagining. Fish in it or no?
You can have fish in it, but
Okay,
just
cool.
it's the fish tank itself, which is important. Now
Okay.
make it bigger.
Okay. Goldfish or...
No.
Okay.
Think about really an aquarium.
Yes. Got it. Okay.
Think about the biggest commercially available aquarium if you're not a science lab.
I've never seen goldfish in an aquarium.
Okay. I want you to imagine a 75-gallon fish tank.
Okay. That's a big goldfish.
Now fill it with tea.
Uh-huh. It will kill the goldfish.
That is how much tea my wife drinks per month.
Glad we got there. I knew it was going somewhere.
Yeah. No, I did calculate it, and she drinks approximately 75 gallons of tea a month.
Wow. That's rough. That's good. I mean, great,
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a year. That's a
Oh,
year. That's per
okay.
year.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes
makes
way
it-
more sense.
That's a lot healthier than, yeah. She would be desiccated if that were the case. I'm a Harney and Sons rooibos guy myself.
Oh.
It's very yummy. And then do a bag of that and a bag of their cinnamon as well. Oof, primo. Mwah. That's not what I'm drinking today, though.
No, Nick, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking Flying Embers Hard Kombucha. It is grapefruit with a hint of thyme.
Wow. Ooh, sounds like it has a pleasant mouthfeel.
There was just a hint of like the last 10 seconds in there. Grapefruit with a hint of thyme.
Yeah, it's like grapefruit, and then someone throws a sprig of thyme at you out of a moving vehicle.
Yeah, it glances my cheek, and I just barely get the odor, the bouquet, but not much more. Yeah.
Sounds delightful.
It is good.
I love
It's
a
nice.
hard kombucha.
I love a hard booch. Since I'm treating my body better, I've backed off of beer. I don't know if you could tell, but hard
I can
booches
tell in your voice.
and hard seltzers are really the way to go if you're not looking to bulk up on unnecessary carbs.
I've actually
and
stepped
calories.
back from the beer ledge myself in recent months, and I find that I have fewer headaches.
Because jumping off of it, you would just land on a pile of bottles and it'd be useless.
That's right.
But you're probably more hydrated than you used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm drinking more liquor.
Oh, so much. So much.
So much more liquor.
Did I say I was drinking tea today? It's straight liquor.
It is gray now, though, alcohol. So, Nick, anything else that we need to talk about before we dive into the song itself today?
Just one final note about the album itself. I have the text from a UK music paper advert for this album.
From back in the day, from 70 sometime.
From back in the day, unless they started advertising it in like the 90s, which would be a little too late.
Yeah.
Quote, Jethro Tull presents Songs from the Wood.
Sounds factual so far.
A new album of old magic.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like that line. Songs from the Wood. It's inspired by the thought that perhaps nature isn't as gentle as we'd like to believe, and it takes as its theme the natural and supernatural inhabitants of the woodlands of Old England. Warm and friendly, harsh and bitter by turns, it includes Ring Out Solstice Bells, as well as Tull's new single, The Whistler, and 7 other songs. Find a quiet spot and listen to it soon.
Wow, that's
What text? I don't think I've ever seen that much text in any advertisement as long as I've been alive.
well, people had a different relationship to the world in those days, and advertising was different. Advertising used to describe the product.
Yes, right. It wasn't just a picture of someone half naked and generally roughly relating to the product itself. Yeah, you're right. That's valid. Although I don't have any of the pictures for that text, so it could have been, I don't know, John Evan in like
Reclining half naked on a boat.
Yeah, or not necessarily a boat, maybe a piano.
A horse.
Or a horse. Horse works too.
A horse piano.
Horse. Those very famous horse pianos from the 70s.
Yeah. Well, that's delightful, Nick. Anything else before we dive into the song?
No. I think it is time. I hope you have prepared yourself. I hope you've steeled yourself for what is about to come, because, I mean, pun intended, there's a lot about to. I'm so sorry. I'm deeply sorry.
Let's roll the track.
Roll the footage.
Roll the foot fetish.
Okay. All joking aside, which the next 45 minutes will be filled with,
Filled with the sides.
there's going to be a lot of innuendo and blatant references here and there in this song. So if you got young ones listening, maybe if you don't want to have any talks with them, maybe save this for when you're not dropping them off for band practice. Or do it. You know, we'll break the ice for you. You just got to pick up the pieces. That's fine.
Tune into our other podcast, Talk booty time to me.
Preach puberty to me.
Yeah, but you're good at those. You're good at those things.
I love a good alliteration.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for saying that, Nick. Wow, I had to slightly loosen my tie.
It's the 1950s. The only way you would show emotion is you loosen your tie a little bit.
Just a little.
Maybe
bit.
if you've had 5 scotches and someone has danced upon you, you undo that top button. But I mean, for propriety's sake, let's not.
Yeah, let's not do that.
So that is 6 minutes. Every piece of glass in the booth is steamy right now. It's nice. It's zesty.
I have to say, Nick, I love this song so much, and
it's good.
it's such a pleasure to listen to, and yeah, it's great. It's one of those. It's such a great way to start out the second side of the album.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even when we experienced it, buying a CD from Barnes and Noble down at the mall.
Yeah.
This was really a highlight, a kind of refreshing moment of the album.
Yeah, there's a darkness to it. There's a mystery, and when you're not following along lyric for lyric, there is an innocent mystery to it. There is a feeling of like, ooh, what am I getting into? Who am I meeting? What's going on here? And then when you realize what it's about, it's like I need to change my life decisions. But
if you realize what it's about,
if you do, which like I said last week, I didn't really realize what it was until prepping for this episode. I went through and listened and read along, and boy howdy. Boy howdy.
I always knew what it was about.
Yeah, I just felt it in my soul, felt it in my quivers, my withers.
Let's talk about the music. There's a lot to unpack there.
There is. It is like the rest of this album, it is a musically dense, complex, and damn good song.
Yeah. It's the structure of it really fascinates me. So we have what I would describe as 2 or 3 primary elements in it musically.
Okay.
Or 2 or 3 sounds, that we come back to. The first one is what I would describe as the courtly dancing moment.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that harpsichord synth right out of the gate, the very first sound that we
Yeah.
hear for the song. Yeah. Also, like what a lovely punch, like you said, for the first song off of this side of the album, like right out of the gate. Very great sound, very modern but old at the same time.
Yeah,
It
know
works.
right where you are.
Yeah.
Hard to describe, but you know it.
Yeah. It's more of a feeling than anything else.
You know right where you feel.
You feel it all. Yeah.
Both hands where I can see them.
Hand check. Yeah.
So we have that section.
Uh-huh.
And, and yes, right out of the gate, we have that beautiful, the syntho harps. Paired with the bass, giving you that kind of jaunty, formal feeling.
Very. This is another bass forward song. We hear that through the rest of it. Yeah.
Yes, it's all about that bass.
Because I'm all about that bass, no trouble.
We then have the flute coming in at a few moments.
Yep.
But the character of it doesn't really change until the drums come in. And when they do, I think that they start to propose a sense of carnality to this song. Foreshadow, a foreskin shadow, a little carnalness.
The shadow of the there is just inherently there is something more bestial, more animal about the drums.
Yeah. I mean, we can play with the word bass. It is a bass sound, and it recalls to us our bass instincts, our instincts to play the bass.
And there is a reason that drummers are stereotyped. There's a reason that Animal, the drummer of Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, is
the
a
sexiest
character.
one.
And he is also the sexiest one. And there's a reason Dave Grohl could take me to bed any night of the week.
Who is Dave Grohl?
He was the drummer for Nirvana. He's the lead singer of the Foo Fighters and guitarist. He did the drums for the first Tenacious D album.
Wow.
He is our generation's Neil Peart.
Gotcha.
He is. He is prodigious. He's very good.
So the other thing that this section proposes, we learned something new about Nick.
I mean, it's Velvet Green, baby. I've got a little hint of time and Velvet Green. I'm good to go.
Oh, the kombucha's hidden. In kombucha, the truth.
Yeah. Famous Caesar quote. Yeah.
It's Latin. Yeah. So the other thing that this section proposes to me, and this continues through the first verse,
Okay.
is this sense of society, this sense of being in the public view in a way.
Yeah, there's a structure there. There's a feeling of a courtly dance almost. Yeah, I get it.
And even the way that the first couple of verses are sung, bum 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 bum. It's clipped. It's proper.
Yeah.
It's got a kind of a swing. It leaves room for the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. Jesus has room to get in there. Just looking at the lyrics online, I mean, the structure is so different. Like you said, clipped lines, very
There's a lot of space.
very sparse, a lot of space, and then once we hit that transition,
Right.
it gets dirty, baby.
Won't you have
So that's where I would say this big second sound comes in.
Okay.
Brum, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
it's
dun, 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 dun.
grungy. It's a man in a trench coat, like rubbing up against you on the train. Yeah.
What?
What? It's dirty and
Very
untoward, and I mean that's the memory that I mean the image that I have.
Sure.
I need to go talk to someone.
Yeah, it's seductive, and
Yeah.
to me it draws this beautiful distinction between public and private.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily unwelcomed, and it's not. I mean, there's a degree of skeeve, but it's not necessarily someone who's going to do something terribly untoward. I feel like this, as sexy as this character is being, it still hinges upon consent.
It does hinge upon consent.
Yeah.
And I think that what we have here is a persuasive, seductive argument.
Oh, sure. Oh, he's given it his all because he wants to experience the Velvet Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not blow our wad,
Yeah.
as they say, quite yet.
They do.
We'll talk about lyrics in a minute. But just the way that it's sung, Ian drops into this sort of huskier voice, gets a little closer to the mic. There's a little bit of reverb or echo on the guitar, and the guitar kind of emphasizes different points. You know, with that scat-a-da-down.
Yeah. Yep.
hands go down?
You know, the sound is softer.
It's airy. That acoustic is very airy. Yeah.
And then finally, the last musical section that I want to highlight is the break.
Yeah, that 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which features, go ahead.
You're going to say the same thing I was going to say.
It features the use of the vibra slap.
Oh, I was going to say it features the portative organ.
Oh!
Remember last week we heard that clip of Dee playing it, which was an intro in a live show to this song.
That's right, that's right.
But that's where we hear that portative organ specifically in here. Do 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 do. Almost calliope sounding.
Right, and it's got that fabulous contrast with the drums again. You know, this song is all about the contrast between what you should do and what you want to do.
Yes, and how you can get the opportunity to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's not just breaking all the rules and saying society be damned. I mean, there is a level of conniving and structure here to get the opportunity to do what you want to do, which makes it a little more dark than just grabbing life by the Jimmy Johns and going to town, you know?
It reminds me in a way of the dynamic in Mozart's La ci darem la mano from Don Giovanni. And if our listeners aren't familiar with that, that's one of the seduction songs that Don Giovanni sings to a married woman. The title means "Give me your hand," and she has this wonderful riposte at one point because the verses switch between the two of them, and Don Giovanni sings, "Give me your hand, and I will. My little love shack is not far in the woods, and we can go there."
Quel casinetto è mio, soli saremo, e la gioiello mio, ci sposeremo.
And she at one point sings "Vorrei e non vorrei," which is "I want and I do not want."
Vorrei e non vorrei.
So it's, there's a long tradition of this kind of musical thesis.
Sure. Of seduction versus morals or social
Yeah.
mores, restricting that.
Or social or biological consequences.
It feels like, have you ever seen Dangerous Liaisons?
A long time ago, yeah.
Long time ago. It feels like that. Ray and I just watched it for the first time. I suggest everyone, if you can handle a period piece and some sexy scandal, watch it, because it is Glenn Close and John Malkovich and Uma Thurman and Michelle Pfeiffer, all when they're babies, and they just blow your face off. Glenn Close is just mind-blowing in it.
Yeah.
In general, but in that, yeah. But yeah, it's everything has to be played by the rules.
Right.
So you manipulate the rules, or you manipulate the people who keep the rules.
Yes. Or you find the moments or the spaces where the rules can't see you.
Also that, yeah. Yeah.
So Nick, the last thing that I want to point out about this song musically, the several last things, there are 5 or 6 last things that I want to point out about this song musically.
Yes,
But
go on.
The big one is that it ends where it starts.
Walking on velvet green.
After that whole journey, we go back to the very first verse with that clipped societal proposition.
Yeah.
And I think we'll talk more about the implications of that.
Right. Because after the moment of carnal heat, you still got to put your petticoats back on and go back out and dance at the ball or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what, Nick? I think we should rip off our clothes and jump into the lyrics here. I can't stand it any longer.
Can I just a couple of notes, 3 more music things real quick.
Oh, building the tension. Yeah, sure.
That's just going to tease a little bit more. Xylophone in here. Primo.
Yes.
Nice. Very nice. Very, very crisp and clipped. Works very well with those first couple of verses that you were talking about. The mando kicks in on when he starts to sing. I believe it's "Won't You Have My Company." I think it's once we hit that transition, but when the mandolin kicks in, very nice mandolin.
Yeah.
Walking on velvet green. Scotch pine growing.
Assuming it's Ian, I think. Right?
Probably.
Isn't he our mando guy?
Probably at this stage, he
Yeah.
was the one who was pushing the mandolin.
Also, there's so much, even after the first little bits of harpsichord synth, there's so much synth going on in the background. I feel like it's borderline, it's dipping its toes into the water of something like Under Wraps or A in terms of being so synth heavy. It's not like 80s synth sounding, but there's so much in there. And it's just a different sound from what we've heard the rest of this album.
That's interesting, yeah.
But it blends well, is basically.
And it doesn't make it feel modern. Is the fun
God,
thing.
no,
It's
yeah.
so electric, but it really transports you to you feel like you're on the heath.
Yeah, like the rest of this album, it is a perfect amalgam where the pieces fit together to give you a whole new sound and a whole new feel.
You could almost say that it's a new album of old magic.
Someone may have said that.
Someone should say that.
Someone should.
There's one other thing that I want to point out, and that's that there is a heavy use of doubled vocals, especially as we get later on in this song.
Yeah, Ian goes down for his bass vocals as well. Yeah,
He goes down for it.
he goes down.
Tell your mother that you walked all night on velvet green.
So, Nick,
Yeah, let's do lyrics, definitely.
let's lyric it up.
Is this character, the Ian telling us the song, the narrator telling us, singing the song, is this him having genuine feelings for the person to whom he sings? Is it him just telling a girl what she wants to hear to get her to go do things that he wants? Is it a couple that's been married for 20 years and they're just role-playing? Who knows?
You know, whatever the truth is, I think that it is worth pointing out that this song, I would say, follows in a tradition of Scottish and English love ballads,
Interesting. Okay.
many of which have the theme of "Come walk with me, ye bonny lass, and I will tell you how much I love you," wink, wink, implying the sex.
Yeah.
And then the bonny lass replies, "Oh, but you will prove a false young man." And he says, "No, no, no, I mean this to be true. I will marry you so hard after we have sex." And she says, "Oh, well, if you'll marry me, that's all right then."
You'll never be married as hard as I'm about to marry you.
And then of course, the young man says, "Psych."
Yeah.
So, there's
Yeah.
that is an entire song format that exists. I was trying to look up some specific examples, and if I find any, I will send them to you. But, there are hundreds of songs of that variety. And then there are variations on them,
Sure.
where it reverses the roles. Or
Okay.
one of my very favorite versions of this is the soldier waylaying the bonny lass and saying, "Hey, let's go for a fun time." And she says, "No, no, I have a lover." And he says, "Oh, but what about me? I'm so great, and I'll marry you if you do this thing." And she says, "No, no, no, I'm waiting for my lover." And at the end, he reveals that he is her lover whom she's been waiting for.
Classic.
And he's come back from the war and she didn't recognize him. So
Yeah. That
lots
is.
of variations on a theme.
Does that happen to Odysseus, I think?
That's
I think he does that to
Yeah, he sort of- yeah, yeah.
Penelope? Is that his wife?
Penelope, absolutely, yeah.
Nailed it.
He comes and he disguises himself as one of the suitors,
Yep.
and then he kills all the rest of the suitors.
Yeah, because he shoots the arrow through the axes and no one else can do it. And he does the big reveal and says, "Hey, it's me. It's Odysseus. Now I kill you." And
Now I kill you, and then, "Hey, Penelope, I'm back."
they make long overdue love on the pile of steaming corpses. Yeah.
All right, so we have the proposal:
Sure.
walking on velvet green, singing "Walking on Velvet Green," distant cows lowing.
Distant cows lowing.
He sets the mood. He sets the stage for where the tryst is going to take place, or
I love that word.
would take place if she agrees to it.
Yes, and because of the music, I do get this impression of like, "Oh, hey, why don't we go for a little walk? You want to go for a little? You want to get out of here? Want to leave this party?"
Oh yeah. He brings her a cup of punch as he approaches her and drapes his arm, or she drapes her arm through his, and they walk and talk.
And it's very
this
civil.
proposition. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Now in the lyrics, and I believe the lyrics most of the time the lyrics are picked up directly from the album. The lyrics presented on the album. Velvet Green seems to be a proper noun here. It is capitalized. It is referring to some place / someone.
I would believe that it refers to a specific place. I don't know that it's a real place that exists, but I do think that in the United Kingdom and in a lot of places in Europe, especially in Northern Europe, there is a concept called the right to roam or freedom to roam. And it basically is written into the law in certain countries that any member of the public has the right to go to physically be in various lands, whether they are owned by the government or owned by a private citizen.
Huh.
So even if the mountain is technically owned by Baron Whatsits, you have the right to go walking on it, as long as you're not, hunting or poaching Or in some, if it's Sweden, you're not allowed to pick cloudberries from this date to this date.
Yeah, right.
There are some regulations, but as long as you're just having a nice walk, you can go and you can even camp. And so and thus there is a tradition of rambling and walking and going up into the countryside. There was a movement to kind of put an end to that and privatize the land in the 1930s, but there was a rebellious group of young college students who called themselves the Ramblers. This started around Manchester, who rebelled against that and would go on these big hikes illegally trespassing. And eventually the government just said, yeah, okay, we'll make it law so anybody can walk where they want. And occasionally it gets brought up again, in various civil suits. But so there's this tradition of let's go and, let's leave the town and go and be free in the wildlands.
Yeah, who are you to put structure and laws and ownership on nature? And everyone should be able to experience that.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Granted, it's a whole hell of a lot harder in modern day downtown London or New York City, but I mean there are green spaces, but they're specifically set aside for that.
Yes. But I think this refers to a more country city divide.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. If our theories are correct, if our surmisations are correct, the characters are an upper class that are used to living in the city and used to the benefits of life. Because if these were two farmers, there wouldn't be too much novel about going out into the greens and
Well, I don't know. I mean,
things.
we do have the line "distant cows lowing" makes me believe that it is away from any kind of civilization. So maybe it's maybe this is the big yearly party where all the milkmaids do dress up and
Okay.
have a bit of fun. And someone is suggesting, let's leave all this behind.
Sure, even for the farmers going off beyond the fences, going off
Absolutely.
into the less inhabited. Okay, I get that.
And so I think that velvet green represents freedom in a sense, a separation from the constraints of society.
I love that. And
Okay.
and I think it works, but I think you are giving our narrator too much credit. I think Velvet Green is a nickname that he has given the girl whom he wants to go off and disappear with for 15 minutes, 20 if he's lucky.
Let's set that theory aside for now, and we can revisit it.
Okay.
But either way, the first indication of his intent we get with "Never care with your legs in the air."
Never again, but with your legs in the air.
When I very first listened to this, I thought, oh, because they're skipping.
Oh, right. We're frolicking through a field. Ha ha ha, let's go. Yeah.
Yes. And then later I attended some parties where people were not super good about closing their curtains, and I was like, oh, that's what that means.
Their legs are literally in the air.
Literally in the air. So let's move into the next section. Won't you have my company? Yes. Take it in your hands.
Won't you have company? Yes, take it in your hands.
Yeah, take my company in your hands. See, there's so much thinly veiled innuendo, but there's always something that you can fall back on and say, "Oh no! I meant this." Did you mean? Yeah. Oh my goodness, no! How I'm so embarrassed.
So I think we can agree. Company in this case refers to his turgid baguette.
His riding crop.
It's his dick.
It's his dick. Yeah.
So go down on Velvet Green with a countryman who's a young girl's fancy and an old maid's dreams.
Who's a young girl's fancy and an old maid's dream?
Here's a really amazing reuse and reversal of a line that we had in a previous song on a previous album. Nick, pop quiz, do you know which one I'm referring to?
Gosh, no.
Begins with a B. Give me a B.
Beret?
Give me an A.
Backstreet Boys.
Give me a D.
Bad-Eyed and Loveless.
Bad-Eyed and Loveless.
No wonder I didn't remember it. Okay.
So the line there is, I pulled it up. Hold on.
While you're looking that up, I think go down on Velvet Green. Again, that she is the woman, that Velvet Green is the woman here. I think go down on Velvet Green is more innuendo than you're giving it credit.
A young man's fancy and an old man's dream is the line in Bad Ivan Loveless.
My gosh, I'm so upset I didn't catch that, but I'm glad that you did.
A young man's fancy and an old man's dream.
Well, so I think that there is certainly an innuendo there. I think that the innuendo is more subtle than you are giving it credit for. I think that the line is, "We'll go down on Velvet Green. We'll go down to the park."
Yeah.
And then the phrase "go down on" is hidden in there.
Yeah.
For everyone to see.
Right. Yeah, right. Vaguely veiled.
And then we have the line, "Tell your mother that you walked all night on Velvet Green."
Tell your mother that you walked all night on velvet green.
So this is what cued me into this tradition of sexy ballads, because often in these ballads, the response from the maiden who is getting potentially seduced or pressured into a sex act is, "Oh, but what will my mother say?" Or, "Oh, but my mother will be there." So like the mother is often an impediment to the act of love. So our wise singer already has a solution, a ready-made solution for that.
He may have used this before on someone else. It's possible. It's possible.
Let's put that aside and come back to that later.
Before we leave this stanza, if I were a womanizer.
Womanizer, womanizer, you're a womanizer, baby.
Is that a song?
Womanizer, womanizer, you're a womanizer, oh, womanizer, oh, you're a womanizer, baby.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah.
Taylor Swift, baby.
No wonder. If I were a womanizer, I would 100% glom onto "Who's a young girl's fancy and an old man's dream." That line is just so visceral and like yeah, like there's no machismo in me whatsoever. The doctors have done tests, they can't find a drop of it. But that line makes me feel like gross. I want to control women. Like for this brief moment of like, you put it so well, Ian. Thank you.
Some part of you wants to be a young girl's fancy and an old maid's dream.
Yeah, thank you for putting it that way, because that's, yeah.
No,
Yeah, like that's something
sure.
to strive for, you know? Like the way he puts it is so beautifully poetic. And because it is so beautifully poetic, it allows for a level of excuse. Like, oh yeah, I mean, I may be bad, but at least I'm poetically bad.
I'm so bad. I'm so bad. It's good.
Can't put it to words. I apologize wholeheartedly.
Sure. Tell your mother, who by the way wants me to, that you walked all night on Velvet Green.
Right, she's the old maid. Yeah.
Yeah, make your mom jealous.
Yeah.
Wow, fun.
I'll stay with her only if she's over 45. What's that line from?
If she's 45 or older, I'll make love to her next Tuesday.
There it is. Yep. Thank you.
Oh.
If you're 39 or over, I'll make love to you next Thursday.
Here we have another one of these geographical innuendos. One dusky half-hour's ride up to the north.
One dusky half hour's ride up to the north.
So, on the face of it, we have a little description of geography. If you ride half an hour to the north, you'll get to Velvet Green. But also, a dusky half-hour's ride.
Yes.
On the penis mobile.
The ride. The ride is the key word there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, you can, at dusk, you can ride up to a place, or at dusk, when it's easier to not be noticed, you can slip out. And
also, dusky, it has an implication of sexiness just in itself.
Does it? Is it like a dark and mysterious?
Dusky? Maybe I may have just made that up, but I feel like often in literature when someone is referred to as a dusky maid or that is it goes along with the kind of exotification of people with darker skin.
Yeah,
which I'm so familiar with.
It is used euphemistic or poetic reference to black or other dark-skinned people. As a dated reference. It's also an English electronic music duo from London called
That's what people usually mean when they refer to me as dusky skinned, because I have so many tattoos of that band.
Yeah. And I think that's what Ian meant here. During the
Yep.
half hour's ride, he listened to Dusky.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, and here we get the kind of interesting central thesis of the song for me. There lies your reputation and all that you're worth.
There lies your reputation and all that you're worth.
Where the scent of wild roses turns the milk to cream.
Where the scent of wild roses turns the milk to cream.
Tell your mother that you walked all night on velvet green. So, whew,
Another innuendo there. Thank you very much.
turns the milk to cream.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to unpack that innuendo or
Do we have to?
no?
Okay.
It's yeah. But there lies your reputation and all that you're worth is very interesting. All that you're worth.
Which for people of that time, really, reputation was super crazy important. So, I mean, those two being hand in hand makes total sense.
Yes, but I also think that all that you're worth is a little bit of a slip of the true intention of the speaker. All you're worth to me is what
Is
you're
a
going to give
fling.
me up on Velvet Green.
Yeah, okay.
Which is access to your underpants. Access to the scent of your wild rose.
Ever since I first started listening to this song, I've thought of it as him speaking to himself there.
Oh, that's interesting.
He kind of goes quiet. At that moment, he goes a little introspective, and it's like he's mumbling to himself, or that's his internal monologue. There lies your reputation. It's a lot like John Malkovich's character in Dangerous Liaisons. He won't take the challenge of seducing this one girl because it's too easy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That is a little bit Don Giovanni-like as well. It's sort of like,
Yes.
if I can't do this, then
Exactly.
then who am I? It's
Right.
like his whole identity. Oh, that's interesting.
I've made my intentions clear to enough people that if I don't succeed here, I'm in trouble.
I like that there are two possible interpretations of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like yours, though. I think maybe that makes more sense. I don't know if I was reading too much into it or whatever.
Well,
but
I think they're both valid. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the beauty of l'art, is that it can be interpreted in more than one way.
that's the French name for Jethro Tull. Is that what it translates
Yes.
to?
Yep.
L'art.
Next verse.
Next verse, same as the first. No, it's not.
And the long grass blows in the evening cool.
And the long grass blows in the evening cool.
More imagery, more feeling of where they are at this point. They've made it to a point that has long grass.
Yes, but also we have some innuendo. Blows. If there's grass
Okay,
on
sure.
the field, play ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking Velvet Green is, to be honest. But yeah, go on. An
Why is it
illusion.
green?
Green meaning like young and new.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
like, geez. Better see a doctor.
Yeah.
Yes, and there is an implication of age difference here. The fact that he is
Yeah.
a country man,
Right.
and there is a lot of imagery describing the woman as young.
Just the fact that she would have to explain something to her mother.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
is a decently indicative of, as to her kind of age. Although if she were, I think, kind of regardless of her age, if she were unmarried, she would still probably be living with her family.
Yes, but if she's unmarried, she's probably quite young.
Also, that the instances are very rare where it's a 30-year-old woman unmarried at
That'd be an old maid.
the time that we assume this is taking place in. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then here's the line that I think is one of the most cleverly written. And August's rare delights may be April's fool.
And August red delights maybe April's fool.
Hey, Nick,
Omen,
I'm no mathematician,
right?
but tell me how many months there are between August and April.
Oh, is it 9?
Yes.
I did not catch that.
Oh, really?
That's very good.
Let's see. August, September, November, October, December, January, February, March, April.
Oof, that's
I got the
good.
order wrong, but I think I got it.
I think something fell off there.
So let's take this whole verse together. And the long grass blows in the evening cool. You know, the environment is set. And August's rare delights may be April's fool, but think not of that, my love. I'm tight against the seam.
Yeah.
And I'm growing up to meet you down on velvet green.
Oof.
But think not of that, my love. I'm tight against the seam, and I'm growing up to meet you down on velvet green.
So, what do you think "tight against the seam" refers to?
I am pressed against my breeches.
Yep.
And yeah, it's like, oh no. That's not a concern. Not a concern. Because I have a raging erection that needs to be handled. It is. I mean, we're getting into really gross, like persuasive, guilt trippy, like really sexual predator territory. We're getting here.
Well, yes, but also this is a theme in human sexuality.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, regardless of gender and regardless of anything, you know, when people are in the throes of heat, as it were, logic goes a bit out the window, and there's not much, you know, like the part of the brain which is about long-term thinking and consequences kind of shuts down. It reminds me of that Meatloaf song.
I do anything for love, but I won't do that.
No.
Bat Out of Hell?
You're just playing with me now.
Those are literally the only two Meatloaf songs I know.
Hold on, I'm going to look it up. Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Got it.
And all the kids at school, they were wishing they were me that night. And now our bodies are oh so close and tight. It never felt so good. It never felt so right. And we're glowing like the metal on the edge of a knife. Glowing like the metal on the edge of a knife.
And all the kids at school, they were wishing they were me that night. And now our bodies are oh so close and tight. It never felt so good. It never felt so right. And we're glowing like the metal on the edge of a knife. Glowing like the metal on the edge of a knife. Come on, hold on tight.
And then, of course, oh my God, there are a lot of lyrics to this song.
It's Meatloaf. He tells a story. He paints a picture.
And then the woman says, before we go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever?
Yeah.
Stop right there. I gotta know right now. Before we go any further, do you love me? Will you love me forever? Do you need me? Will you never leave me? Will you make me so happy for the rest of my life? Will you take me away? Will you make me away?
And then to which he reposts, let me sleep on it.
Let me sleep on it. Baby, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. I'll give you an answer in the morning.
And in that, it's let me sleep on it. There's innuendo there as well, yeah.
Yeah. Let me... Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's round out this act here. Now let me tell you that it's love and not just lust. And if we live the lie, let's lie in trust. Well, that's almost Shakespearean.
Mm-hmm.
On golden daffodils to catch the silver stream that washes out the wild oat seed on velvet green.
Now let me tell you that it's a lot and not just lust. And if we live the lie, let's lie and trust. On golden daffodils to catch the silver stream that washes out the wild oat seed on velvet green.
There's some imagery for you.
Yeah. So I did a little research. That makes me think of sow your wild oats.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So the etymology behind that bad boy is that it first attested in the 1560s.
Okay.
Wild oats are a crop that one would regret sowing, in reference to the folly of sowing this unpredictable crop as opposed to a grain that you know will give you a good amount and you know where it's going to grow and things like that.
Right.
In terms of that transferring over into a man having sex with as many women as possible, wild oats here are you're sowing your oats, but you don't know what's going to come of it.
Right.
So you could have a hypothetical unwanted offspring.
Yes, but also if we follow the metaphor, the sower of the oats is mobile, whereas the land
Exactly, yeah.
is stationary.
Yep.
I'm very fascinated by the line, and if we live the lie, let's lie in trust. It's just amazing.
Let's both keep it a secret?
Oh, I'm going to tell you that I love you, and this isn't just about sex. And if we both believe that lie,
Okay,
then trust
if
me.
if you trust me that is true, then
Yeah, let's assume that's true for the moment.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
we have this beautiful imagery of the daffodil and the silver stream, which at first I was like, oh my God, that's just so like pretty and poetic. And then I was
It's-
like, oh my God.
everything on the surface, everything paints such a gorgeous picture. Like I can see all of this happening.
And then you can
And
see
then I see it all
of it happening.
Yeah. It's like I see like the moonlight over the trickling stream, the silver stream, and I see pressed down daffodils that was their bed, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally. But then also the daffodil, a bit of an unusual flower choice for an image of a vagina, but
Sure.
but clear. And then the daffodil catching the silver stream.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think of that. Yeah. But daffodils are spring flowers, and he's talking about this in August.
Yeah, but it's in the mountains.
It's
the
all-
Scotch
yeah.
Scotch pines grow in cooler climates, and so probably the daffodils bloom later or something like that.
Who knows?
Who knows? He
not
grew
a-
up in Blackpool. He's never seen a daffodil.
The infamous loving is under the stars. The civilization's raging apart, and the ragged diamond breaks on your metal scars as you walk on cold and alone upon velvet green.
Well, dream is lovers under the stars. We're doing it. But civilization raging afar. So they have removed themselves from civilization, but it is inevitable that they must return to it.
It's still there, yeah. This may be an escape for a couple of hours, but
Yeah, but it's
ultimately they do have to go back to society, to their positions, to their homes, to
Right.
their families.
And the ragged dawn breaks on your battle scars, and you walk home cold and alone upon Velvet Green. So then the fact that we return to the first verse and the first musical note after that really makes me think that this is a love 'em and leave 'em, wash and repeat type situation for our singer.
Yeah.
I've told all the beautiful lies, I've described all the beautiful flowers to get what I want. Now I'm going to back out of that or pull out of that. And the unfortunate seduced young lady has to walk
Yeah.
home cold and alone to tell a lie to her mother and potentially deal with the consequences in 9 months. And then, hello there.
Oh, a new pretty lady to...
Have you ever been up to Velvet Green?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's the name for the spot that he takes all of these women to.
That's what I think.
Yeah. It just kills me that the very last line in terms of new lyrics, the very last line is basically telling him, like, yeah, walk of shame, go ahead.
Yeah. If we look at our control group song, which is Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf, we have a similar geographical setup. I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday. Parking by the lake, and there was not another car in sight. And I never had a girl looking any better than you did.
Well, I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday. Walking by the lake and there was not another car inside. And I never had a girl looking any better than you did. And all the kids at school, they were wishing they were me that night.
You know, it's Make Out Point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I think in Mexico, New York, it was the Quarry.
Ooh,
I never went there.
neither did I.
You never went to the Quarry?
I never had reason to go to the quarry in Mexico, New York.
I was never invited.
Oh,
I didn't have a car.
any number of reasons, but yeah.
Yeah.
Not to get too terribly graphic, I'm going to dance around the subject, but as the ragged dawn breaks on your battle scars, has he taken her virginity here?
I think that is a reasonable possible conclusion.
Yeah, it feels kind of Maidenhead and
Totally.
you got hurt, but you'll get back up, you'll heal and carry on kind of thing.
Well, and that also, going back to those traditional songs, that is a common topic.
Is it?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like one of the common themes is the preservation or taking of Maidenhead.
Sure. Whether the chastity is maintained or not.
Yeah. Which, is deeply couched in misogynistic culture,
Sure.
which historically has oppressed women and, reduced the value of women to their marital and or fertility or sexual status, which is really problematic and messed up. And we need to move beyond that, even though we have not fully.
And that men can go sow those wild oats.
Yeah, that's sort of an expectation of or a valuable thing. Yeah, it's really a terrible
Yeah.
and highly
so
damaging double
gross.
standard that
Yeah.
we've had for most of history.
Yeah.
I want to give you one small little anecdote not about my sex life, Nick. Jeez.
I'm pretty sure I know all of those anecdotes, so go on.
That's for a different podcast, but no, I want to talk about the Vibra-Slap,
Yes,
which is the
very
instrument,
fun.
still not referring to my
Still
sex
not
life.
your sex life. Got it.
They used to call me the Vibra-Slap. I can.
Ooh.
Okay, so the first time I ever heard this song, hilariously, I was probably 16,
Sounds right. Yeah.
and I had just bought the CD from Barnes & Noble
Gotcha.
at the mall in
Uh-huh.
Syracuse. And I couldn't wait, so as I was driving back to Mexico, New York with my mom
Yes.
and my stepdad,
Yep.
both scientists, I was like, can I please play this album? They were like, yeah, sure. So we listened to it, and they both just had the most terrible expression on their faces the entire time. And when the Vibra-Slap sound happened, my stepfather, bless him, took his foot off the gas, started veering off the road, and was like, what was that sound? Something's wrong with the car.
You definitely told us this story the last time the Vibra-Slap was on.
No, but it was literally this song, I promise.
No, I know. But the last time we heard the Vibra-Slap, it inspired this story. It's a great story, and it just makes me think of that is the epitome of Al, of not knowing that degree, like that an instrument could make that noise.
Well, when you listen to Yanni for most of your life, prog rock is a little too spicy.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah. Nick, anything else that we want to say about this song, or are we fully spent?
I am sated and satisfied. I think that is enough for this song.
I am fully pregnant.
Oh, there it is.
Nick, what are we going to be talking Tull about next week?
Next week is the song The Whistler. Yeah. Any Tull song is an Ian Anderson anthem.
Hmm.
It's The Whistler.
It's quite a big song for us.
Is it?
It's quite a big song for me.
Oh, okay.
Well, until next week.
Oh.
Until next week, you don't have to do anything that you want to do, but if you give us 5 stars, baby, we'll love you forever.
I'm pressing against my iTunes right now. I feel so awful.
Listen, don't think about it and give us 5 stars now. And in 9 months, if that makes if that births us another listener, hey,
Okay. I'll take that.
That's later Nick and Owen's problem.
You don't have to tell your mom that you subscribe to our Patreon.
No, you definitely don't.
You don't.
You can just tell your mom that you were listening to Dusky.
Tell her you're spending that $5 a month on crack cocaine instead
That is a
of...
much more respectable thing to do with your money. Until next week, I am Omen Sade.
I am Nick McGill.
Despite our best efforts, we are Feckless Momes.
And this, begrudgingly, is Talk Tall to Me. There you are.
Well, look who finally decided to come home.
I burned through 3 candles waiting for you.
I was waiting for you to call, and I didn't have any dinner. I wanted to eat. Your father wanted me to eat. But I said, what if she calls while I have food in my mouth?
I kept your food warm and perfectly temp the entire time. Go enjoy it. I'll just sit here and waste away.
I see that you are wearing your new dress. You look beautiful in it. What is that? Why is the back of it smushed like? Is that daffodil petals?
Is that grass stain on the back of your skirt?
Oh my god. Do you know how hard I worked on that skirt? Do you know how much scrubbing that is going to take? You know what? I'm going to fill up the copper bathtub right now.
Those daffodils only grow on the velvet green. What were you doing up on the velvet green?
I've seen those daffodils before. I've seen those daffodils about 18 years ago. I remember that night. There was that dashing young... You remember him, Betty, don't you? That
Oh,
dashing
my
man.
goodness.
I remember. We were at the ball.
Yeah.
And he said we should go to Velvet Green together.
Oh, his calves?
Oh my god, they were so thickly pressed up against his silk stockings.
His calves, Margaret. His calves. I remember them.
I remember he leaned in close to both of us and he said into
Oh.
both of our ears simultaneously, Talk Tall to Me as a proud member of the Feckless Momes Audio Network.
Oh, my brisket.